Right, so we have a number of open source software products which are on GitHub, and these allow you to parse data, process data, and spit out data in a very efficient manner with a minimum of garbage. So it's, one of our big things is to reduce garbage, minimize locking, and have very simple data models for parsing data through a system. In particular, we have a library called Q, which is an append-only journal, which is very good for designing Lambda architecture applications. And this queue allows you to persist everything that passes through the system in a very efficient manner and reduce the amount of logging to almost nothing that you need, because you're actually recording every message going in and out of your system, so you don't need additional logging and you can use this for monitoring as well. One of the things that we do recommend people consider is using enums instead of lambdas in some cases. So if you've got a lambda function, then it is an interface with one abstract method. You can have that method implemented by an enum instead. So you've got a nice API where you can put lambdas in, but then as your software matures, you might decide to turn them into enums. Then they sort of become packaged up. The benefits there in terms of debugging is you can see much more clearly, both in the variables and at runtime, exactly, because they're named then. They become named. So that's one approach we use. We don't use it a lot because you lose a lot of the elegance of lambdas as a result. Another thing we sometimes use is we will replace a lambda with an anonymous inner class, just so that it has a name. So the code is not as elegant, but it's a fairly simple refactoring you can do within your IDE. It won't do the enum thing for you, but it will do anonymous inner classes. And in fact, when it comes to writing lambdas for the first time, we actually suggest you consider using anonymous inner classes more, because what a lot of people find, and I found for a long time, was that getting the types right and all the type inference right was actually kind of tricky. And if it's not compiling, it's often, because of the type inference, where it says the error and where you have the problem are often a long way apart from each other. It's very difficult to see that connection. Whereas if you have a lambda or you write it first as an anonymous in a class, and then you can see the actual types all the way through, and then the error message often becomes a lot more apparent, or what you're doing wrong becomes a lot more apparent, and then you can use your IDE to translate the anonymous in a class back into a lambda. And so you get the nice code that all compiles, but in terms of getting it to compile for the first time, using anonymous inner classes can really help. The Chronicle engine is used in production for some of our clients, so it is stable from that point of view. We have some plans to develop it, but not in the short term. So we've got some plans to develop it further. So it is both stable from a code base and it is actually used. Chronicle Q has been used for 3 years in a number of banks for production. And in fact, I would say more than half the major banks in the world use Chronicle Q somewhere. They're often using it for either market data services or compliance systems in general. And the reason why that's used a lot is because one thing that's different about Q is that it doesn't use flow control, in which case it doesn't push back on the producer. And the biggest advantage from a business perspective is that you can have a producer such as an exchange where you can't have flow control, you can't tell the exchange to slow down if you can't keep up. Or if you've got a compliance system which you have to have, but you don't want the systems producing data to the compliance system to ever be slowed down. So a queue is also used as a buffer in that situation as well. The weather has been absolutely perfect. I couldn't have planned it better. And yeah, so it's great t-shirt and shorts weather, and it puts everyone in a good mood, I think.